Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of These Are the Blades of Our Lives, the skating show where I talk to you about figure skating like it is drama for your mama. Today, figure skating is taking the most dramatic stage ever. Yes, it's the 2022 ISU Congress. What kind of unholy alliance will be formed at this Congress? So, as we all know, the ISU Congress is meeting from June 5th to June 10th to elect another puppeteer and to destroy figure skating a little more. I know there are people who think that the era of Russian political supremacy in figure skating is over with their removal from international competition due to the war. However, we know that Alexander Lekernik and the other Russian ISU puppet masters are just playing possum and abiding their time before they can return to form. Actually, they're not even hiding that hard because the motion to exclude the Russian delegates from the Congress just failed. The Russian group knows where all the bodies are buried and which skeleton is in whose closet, so they can never be counted out. What I am interested about is who will step up and make an unholy alliance in the temporary absence of the Russians. If they're even absent, that is. I mean, the Korean Skating Union and the Japanese Figure Skating Federation, with some of the best and most underrated skaters, would seem like ideal candidate for this alliance. However, with their history, these two countries will never really join hands. Another on paper option would be the US and Canada. However, these northern neighbors are not as friendly as you would think. When it comes to skating, I can see Canada more allied with Europe and the US with Asia. It goes without saying that the US is going to step in and fill in the inflation hole that's left by Russia. After all, the ISU is an organization that follows the checkbook. They don't care who pays them as long as they get paid. So, we know the US is going to be in there without question. But what I want to know is who's going to be their partner in crime. Who's going to take this opportunity and push for their skaters with their checkbooks? Personally, I think it will be South Korea. I mean, the US and South Korea, they are military and political allies. Now they can take it to the ice. That's not to say the US would not join hand with Japan. However, the Japanese Figure Skating Federation does not seem to want to play the game, which makes no sense to me. Japan is literally a juggernaut in figure skating. Not only do they have some of the best skaters in the world, some would even say the best skater in the world in one Yuzuru Hanyu, but they also have the biggest fan base in the world. Most of the ice shows that give like skating opportunities to skaters are in Japan. The most lucrative endorsement for skaters come from Japanese companies. The Eteri girls were getting six-figure endorsement deals with several Japanese companies. If Japan wanted to help their skaters, they have all the ammunition needed to do so. Yet still, I see them missing out on this opportunity created by the removal of Russia. However, what I do think will happen, I think there will be a shallow alliance between the US and South Korea, while Russia will remain and retain all the power behind the scene. Because we all know Russia is the true power behind ISU. And because of this, this is what I think will come out of this Congress. I think the age limit will be raised to 16. 16 is that golden age. They're young enough for the 30 like technique, but old enough so that all everybody could say, well, now we don't have the protected minor status anymore. So the problem is solved. There's no more problem. The children are protected, blah, blah, blah. And while they're trying to shove that nonsense down our throat, I feel like they're also going to take this opportunity to widen the gap between the technical aspect and the artistic aspect. I think they're going to give priority to jumps, which means they're not going to look at pre-rotated jumps. Jumps that are obviously not quad because a full rotation is done on the ice. They're not going to take a look at cheated jumps, jumps that should really be downgraded because, again, full rotation, pre-rotation, wrong edges are not going to be called. They're not going to look at any of that because that would help the artistic part and hurt the technical movement. So none of that is going to be looked at. What they are going to look at is maybe reducing the value of spins, like twerking the requirements for step sequences. The things that make skating complete, I think, are the things they're really going to focus on. While the technical aspect, they might raise some of some of the scores for it. That's about what I see. And when, not if, but when the Russian skaters are allowed back, the power will be taken away from Eteri Tuberetsi because she abandoned Mother Russia allegedly and put behind the Angels of Plushenko. I think nothing will really change except for the fact that the Russians will have better doctors and they'll have a better state-sponsored system. And if they happen to get caught again doping children, the IOC and the ISU will give them another slap on the wrist and will keep going in the same cycle. This is the outcome that I see from the ISU Congress. I don't really think anything meaningful is going to come out of it. I don't think there's going to be judge security because we all know these judges are forced to give scores that are not aligned with what's happening on the ice. We all know the judges are told to put the national skaters up front, to put allied country skaters up front. We all know that these judges who are under the sponsorship of their country, of their federation, are not free to judge realistically. And I don't think the ISU is going to step in to set any sort of boundaries to help and protect that. I think the status quo is going to be maintained with more priority being given to the technical aspect of figure skating and the artistic part being killed some more. I don't think we're going to see any more complete programs. I think we're going to see mostly jump drill with a few skaters who just have that artistic inherent soul. They're going to try to do their best within the new requirements. But I foresee these new requirements being set to just make figure skating less of an artistic sport and more of a technical sport. I mean, that's what I think will come out of this ISU Congress. But let me know in the comment if you think the outcome of the ISU Congress will be more of the same or if you imagine some great and big change will happen.